Hi, Kavya. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining me on the podcast series called I Am Not Rare. Very, very happy to finally get to meet you, and knowing that both of us are from Vizag gives me that extra bounce right down my seat. And it's so good to be talking to a fellow Vizagite and getting to know more about what you feel about this very, very interesting topic. So, Kavya, without further ado, I wanted you to take over and tell us how it's been for you. How has been your journey to start off with, your diagnosis journey?
So firstly, thank you so much for having me today. So I'm really excited to looking forward to it. And yes, as you mentioned about the diagnosis journey, I wanted to just briefly introduce myself a bit and the condition and then take it forward from there. My name is Kavya Poornima Balajepalli. I'm an architect and a researcher. I'm the founder of Poornamidam and IIH Warriors India. I'm also the part of district level committee on disability for Visakhapatnam district, and I work closely with civil society organizations and NGOs working on disability inclusion and climate change. Right. So, talking about my condition, I live with idiopathic intracranial hypertension, shortly known as IIH. So, it's a rare chronic neurological condition having a dynamic disabling nature. And when I first heard about this particular term, I was quite confused. Like I was not able to grasp it on a first go. Like what? Like, so it was my kind of reaction. And uh, to make it simple about IIH, idiopathic meaning there's no known reason or cause. Idiopathic is that, and intracranial is inside the skull, simply put. And hypertension, as everyone must be aware of, pressure, some pressure. So basically, here it is brain pressure. So, brain pressure is caused without any known reason or cause is something known as IIH. And how it came to me, how I first had like interacted with this condition, and the name is something which I wanted to take everyone back to 2017, while I was pursuing my final year of architecture in Mumbai.
Mhm.
And I was like any other teenager dreaming about my career and how I'm going to take it forward and how I'll be traveling across the world. I was having a bucket list. Um, I was quite adventurous by that time, and I was also into all the extracurricular activities. I'm a classical dancer and art enthusiast as well. So, all these things together, and architecture, given its nature of work, is visual centric. Like you draw, you
Yes.
design, and you again, when what you design on table, you execute on ground, and you see the result in live. Basically, it's kind of a course that is like you don't really find such professional courses apart from medical. You don't
Absolutely.
really see the end result uh, outcome basically. So it's
Mhm.
kind of a connection that an architect holds throughout the project. It's not like you just submit and leave it. So
Right.
that's how my training was happening, and it's a 5 years professional course. So all of these were happening, and simultaneously during my final year I was doing my thesis project, and I was working so hard. I was traveling everywhere for my assignments and understanding the site, field visits, everything. In between this, I was feeling lethargic and fatigued by performing small tasks as well, and I developed on and off severe headaches. And when I used to share this with my classmates, my friends, they always used to say it's the same complaint that we also carry with us, because we work overnight, we work on screens and
Yeah.
minute detail. It's
Right.
basically contributing to sleepless nights, and that's where we are, like all of us are experiencing the same thing. You are no different. This
Absolutely.
was the kind of a thing that I was getting, and the way I used to share it with my relatives in Mumbai as well, it was a kind of response that everyone of your age group are some or the other way experiencing these kind of things. It's quite common. It was kind of put in some kind of a common bracket, right? And then from there, all of a sudden, the symptoms I was experiencing becoming worsen, and unable to. I mean, I was not able to describe them in a way, and to give a little more, like add a little more layer to it. I am also a person with PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I was having menorrhagia, which is a prolonged period cycle of nearly 40 to 50 days. So each period I used to experience for 50 to 60 days, and I used to bleed. And while I was doing all these travel and tasks I described about. So that put me in the anemic bracket, and I developed anemia. My hemoglobin levels dropped down, and during this phase I developed these simultaneously these symptoms, which I described as severe throbbing headaches and fatigue and nausea. And all of a sudden all these symptoms came together. It was not like on and off happening, but everything came together, and I was admitted and I was treated for anemia. That all these symptoms that I was describing were connecting to anemia. Right? And then from there, within 3 days, I lost my eyesight overnight. And this particular experience, I wanted to clearly, I remember that my mother was just next to me, and she was trying to wake me up the next day morning. The previous day I got admitted in the clinic, and the next day morning she was trying to wake me up, and I was like, it's been a while, it's been like 10 days that I didn't sleep because of my headaches and pain. I'm able to sleep now, let me sleep. And she's like, no, the doctors are about to come for rounds, so you have to have your medicine, so just wake up. And I was like, I opened my eyes and I was like, it's still dark, why are you joking? Let me
Oh, you didn't realize. You didn't realize.
What's the point when my mother was like, "Are you joking? It's not dark. It's 9 a.m. now, and you can see the sunlight coming inside the room."
So this
And
happened very, very suddenly. There was absolutely no
very sudden,
graduation into this.
absolutely no clue. And even the doctors who were treating me for anemia were also not like didn't expect this kind of thing coming in their way. And then that's the point where it was a rush, and I vividly remember all of that, because I was moved from that clinic to another multi-specialty hospital, and in between a lot of negotiations were happening. All the doctors who were treating me there in the clinic got scared and just wanted to let me out of that, because they'll be put under something. They were mistreating me and misdiagnosing me, and all of that was happening. And it was kind of the juggle for 2 days that we literally rushed from one clinic to another, and then from there to another department, and all of that. And
so how long, Kavya, did that whole process last, the final diagnosis till the day you realized this is what I have? How long did that process take?
so moving to the clinics and the major like multi-specialty hospital, I underwent like some numerous tests and MRI and all of that happened. And finally, the diagnosis came to me after 3 days post my vision loss. I lost my eyesight, and I was just undergoing the test to detect the root cause of it, and they could not find any substantial root cause for the condition. And that's when this IIH name came, and that's the diagnosis process. But by then, I lost my eyesight completely, right? So from there on,
from
it was
the time, just to kind of put a number to this, because it's very important for us to tell everybody that this is not just in your case, but in practically everybody with a rare condition. We all go through the cycle. So from the time you experienced your first symptom to the day you got your final diagnostic report that this is what it is called, how long did that period take?
So
you remember?
it took
Huh.
Yes, the the onset of all these symptoms suddenly came into the scene because it's basically called fulminant IIH.
Hmm.
Fulminant itself is onset happens very rapidly and very
Quickly.
like aggressively.
Hmm.
And in my case, it was the time frame of 1 week that all the symptoms came into the picture, and
Hmm.
within
So right from the time the first headache till the day you got the report, all of that was just 1 week or more than that?
the first headache, as I was mentioning, was a regular occasion, like it was an occasional headache, but
Hmm.
the severe throbbing headache that I experienced was just 1 week before the
Got it.
vision loss onset happened.
Got it.
So it
Got it.
was the entire thing came into the scene like some 1 week
It
to 10
happened
days.
very fast. Very fast it
Very,
happened. And
and
your
it was
first
it
and
was taking us to different layers that it was due to PCOS, it was due
got
to
it, got
anemia,
it. No, no, that
this
I
kind of.
understood. This is all the misdiagnosis, right? Now, what I'm trying to understand is the first symptom, the first throbbing headache that you experienced as a teenager was how many days before this 1 week of rapid degradation?
Could be around maybe 6 months,
See,
5 to 6 months before
exactly.
was something which was the trigger.
Got it. So I'm only thinking, and this is just hear me out, Kavya. So what I'm thinking is because I have spoken to so many people with so many kinds of
Yes,
conditions that
yes,
the first sign, okay, when something is constitutionally not right in a human body, right, even before you come to a diagnosis, etc., happens well in advance in a
yes,
human
yes,
body. It's not that
yes.
the rapid degradation starts immediately, but
Correct.
because of the fact that, so your our first go-to point whenever we have any illness or let's say discomfort in our body is always our our kin, our family members. Then we go to our family physician, and then we
Yes,
go to a specialist, right? That's how the
yes,
movement
yes.
really
It's
happens.
a layered approach that we carry.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly. Because we don't really go to the specialist right away, right?
correct,
We don't go for
correct,
second, third opinions
correct,
right away. So I'm only
correct.
thinking that in our country, okay, and hear me out again very clearly, in our country, the level of awareness is missing at a family level, at an education, which is a school and institution level, then
Yes,
even at a family physician level, right?
yes,
And
yes,
maybe somewhere even at the specialization level, because these rare
yes,
conditions which are as many as 7,000 odd in number,
yes.
they seem to be completely misunderstood by all these levels of people. So
Correct.
someone like you who had a symptom as early as 6 months to 8 months in advance and could have easily not lost your eyesight if some
Correct.
kind of remedial action was taken, had to
Yes.
suffer, right? Now, what
Yes.
happens is, I'm not sure whether this condition that you're talking about, IIH, is progressive or not. But in my daughter's case, it is a very progressive condition, right? And in
Yes.
our case, also, this takes time, sometimes as long as 10 years.
Yes.
And since it's a rapidly progressive, nerve and muscular kind of a degradation, these
Yes.
children, they lose their physical ability to move. And
Yes.
it is irreversible.
Yes.
So if the diagnosis had happened earlier, just at the time of maybe the first onset, maybe that muscle loss or the movement loss also could have been prevented, just like how your eyesight loss could have been prevented, right? So
Right.
anyway, my only, I think, the math that I'm trying to put together into this madness is the fact that time is the most crucial element, for
Correct.
people affected with any rare condition, and the rare
Yes.
condition can happen in anybody's life out of nowhere. It doesn't
Right.
require a rhyme or reason. It could be for various reasons. But tell me this one question now that we are at it. Have you been able to figure out why in your entire family do you have this condition, Kavya?
Yes. So we tried first decoding about neurological conditions, any history that we were carrying, and there was no direct connect because again, when we discussed this with various specialists coming from neurological interventions,
Right.
uh, they connected it directly with the hormonal disorders that someone would deal with are prone to IIH. And if there are comorbidities involved, and if I have to precisely share about the treatment that we undergo for PCOS is very common in women these days, right? And uh, in the course of treatment, if they were prescribed like the hormone pills and the medication that they take, contraceptives, given the nature of their condition, prolonged use of these medications may also contribute to it, but there's no clear pathway that they could connect with. I also run a support like peer support group for IIH Warriors India. I have initiated this right after my diagnosis, and I interacted with almost 80 to 90 individuals living with this condition across India. And that's a very common point that I came across is that they had some kind of medical intervention that was done. They don't even remember, and because we don't have a database of past medications that we consumed during our childhood and like so on, so forth. That plays a very crucial role in connecting it with the current diagnosis of such conditions. And that's a lost track of all the patients that I interacted with. And even another thing, and another interesting thing is that IIH is different in everyone's life. I mean, everyone is dealing IIH very differently. It's not the same at all. So that is also connecting to the dynamic nature of IIH and the target that in my case happened with my vision. But there are patients who lost their hearing completely, and there are patients whose kidneys got damaged, and they are living with chronic kidney diseases. And there's another one who's living with lupus. So I think I mean it's a kind of like it's having a multi-dimensional
got it. There's no single pattern, right? But tell me, this whole diagnosis,
sorry,
I'm saying this whole diagnosis, Kavya, did it come across through a single test? Was it like was there a particular test?
It's a series of tests. So you need to get an MRI, while at the same time you need to also get a spinal tap. It's a lumbar puncture, where you will have this CSF extracted from your spine, and that will be also understood to measure the pressure. And simultaneously, you also have to undergo your visual fields and like visual evaluation, basically, to understand is there any pressure behind your eyes. Because that is the easiest way to understand whether the pressure is building up behind your eyes. It will directly connect with something is happening. So all
now
of these together.
Now tell me one thing, Kavya. Now tell me, now that we have analyzed IIH and what it is and how it has happened to you, how did it how much time did it take for you or your family, your loved ones, to actually come to accept that things are not going to go back to how it used to be? And I know that's something that happens
honestly,
in life.
if I have to share that, I think they are still not in terms with the condition and the transition that happened, and they're still hoping and praying and whatnot to really regain, and maybe still living in that belief that miracle will happen and things will change drastically and you will get back your vision and you will be normal.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to hear, because see, this is again, I feel, somewhere that we all are, right? And I'm talking about the entire rare disease community, that our entire lives are pinned on hope, right? Hope and belief that there is going to be some medical miracle, there's going to be some revolution in science, and there's going to be some medication that is going to help turn things aside, right? And I honestly, Kavya, so our trajectory has been longer because of the fact that the diagnosis happened way before, right? And it wasn't midlife, it was right at the beginning of my daughter's life. So, the only thing that I have realized is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because this is just what I have eventually convinced myself with in terms of just pacifying that in our conditions, right, in all these conditions which are absolutely very, very complicatedly named in terms of the nomenclature, etc. And they don't have a very medically positive feedback from science. Uh, for people like us, I think the only learning lesson has been that prevention could have been the cure, isn't it? Because
Yes.
otherwise, when you're on the other side of the picket fence, like the way you and me are, we all we can do is put our hands together, fold it with our heads bowed down every morning and pray to the universe that please send a miracle our way somehow, right? Because that becomes a part of your daily routine then, because you can't give up hope. But then that's how it is, and that's all that we can do, because very little is left for us to do with the damage that has already happened or is happening in our bodies, and we are helplessly trying to combat it, right, at the end of the day. But anyway, this is something that I also wanted to concur whether it is similar, because like you said, Kavya, you said that after your diagnosis, you went ahead and you found a community of the IIH warriors just to try to get at the bottom of what this thing is and how are other people dealing with it. And then that's when you realize that these things are for real and they are not similar. So it gives you a little bit of more familiarity in terms of how people in different conditions are still living with IIH. And is there some hope rather than waiting for something unknown? Can we find hope in each other's approach
Correct.
with,
Correct.
with this journey? But having said that, tell me, how much do you believe that this is not a rare condition today? How, because you've seen so many, right? How
Yes.
much do you yourself believe that this is not a rare condition and there are people out there, probably 80 that you know, but there could be more across the world?
Absolutely, there could be more, and currently the data what people are relying and quoting is completely from the sample that was studied long, long back, and that too very much Western centric. It's not I mean, it's not Indian specific or Asian context. I mean, I we couldn't really figure out the actual database regarding this particular condition, and there's like very less sample that's
There
been
isn't
studied.
any, Kavya. There isn't any. There is no database in our country.
Yes,
There's no
correct. And
accurate database in our country.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
That's what I was trying to even share with my peers as well when they were clueless about the condition, navigating for the first time when they interact with me. All of them were like, "We are the only ones," and I said, "There are many people out there. We may not know and connect." Like I was trying to. Like act as an anchor and trying to initiate this forum and bringing people into this group and filtering from the global groups that are there, support groups, and I'm trying to bring people out. But then I'm the only one doing, right, and I have very like minimal access to these forums that are existing, and we don't really have the other side of it, and that there might be many people in the rural India who are not even having access to basic needs, and you can't really figure out about the number basically. And I don't think it's a rare condition at all, and
Absolutely. No, tell me
I
now
know
one
that
more
there
thing,
are
Kavya.
many people.
Tell me one
Yeah.
more thing. Okay, now I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you some hard questions, and this is just to make you think a little
Yeah.
harder, okay, about things. So I understand that IIH is a condition, right? And it could take longer for you to find other IIH warriors. But what has actually held you back to join hands with just other rare disease warriors? There's 7,000 such rare diseases, right?
Yes. Yes.
So what's
Yes.
holding you back from becoming a part of the rare community in the world, which is fairly large, by the way? And by the way, India is the rare disease capital of the world after China.
Yes.
I hope you
Yes.
know that.
Yes. Yes.
I hope you know
Yes.
that. Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So,
So
is there
basically,
anything just holding you back from just saying that, okay, medically, I could be having this, but universally, all the rare disease warriors have the same issues: diagnosis
Correct.
delays, accessibility delays, medical,
Yes.
a lack of medical support, kind of an issue, insurance, absence of insurance providers, or access for support with medication, whatever is there, because most of them have genetic origins. So all these are very, very common problems, right? So what is it that is never sort of cleared up there in terms of that access is also possible, and that way you might get more support?
I think in my case personally, though, I'm fortunate enough to connect with the larger disability discourse and working in the disability like sector right from the beginning. Somewhere while I was navigating my transition phase and I was figuring out what next after my graduation in architecture, I was trying to understand like what's that area where I can really contribute well, and as a user and as a designer I could connect with the gaps that are there in the built environment, and the barriers that I was facing and many others were also facing alongside me, uh, which led me to pave my own path in the direction of universal design and accessibility discourse. And
Which is a
that's where I got
fantastic
to.
thing you're doing. Which is a fantastic thing you're doing. You know why? Because you are using the professional edge to solve lots of problems which are common to the disability, users. And that is
Yes.
fantastic, because if this is actually, that was going to be my next level question. That what you have done is you've actually jumped levels, rather than isolating yourself with your medical condition and saying, okay, what do I do with myself? You moved above the barrier of just that chronic condition, and you have now joined that universal space where multiple people, millions and millions of people with different kinds of disabilities are existing. And that is a space where problem solving is happening best today, because maybe medically we don't have solutions, but in the
Right.
disability space, people like yourself are actually working very, very hard to give solutions at whatever level. Scale doesn't matter there in terms of the contribution, but yes, there are a lot of people working there. uh,
Yes.
but my question still, I don't want you to skip it. I want you to kind of try to ask yourself that, knowing
Yes.
that it's a rare condition and people address you as rare,
Yes.
has it never crossed your mind that you should challenge that?
No, I think I tried, as I mentioned about, I got connected with the larger disability discourse. Similarly, I also connected with the ORDI and rare diseases organizations, even globally and nationally, trying to figure out whether the other point I was also trying to work is to bring visibility to my own condition while also connecting with other
Yes.
peers living with
Yes.
other rare diseases, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when I was trying to figure out the name, especially in the database that they were having globally, I couldn't really trace out the name as mentioned there. And later part, after a couple of interactions that I had, now it is enlisted in the global rare diseases database,
Mm-hmm.
as well as the national chronic pain database. And I tried advocating for including it. See, that is again, it's not that I'm only holding IIH and trying to, I mean, trying to avoid other rare diseases or anything, but it's basically to also have accountability for my own condition, where if see, I could think this way, but I know, I'm very sure that there are people out there who are still living in that bubble of this is it, this is the end after the diagnosis of a condition, and they just limit themselves to think beyond
Right.
that particular environment, and they were not, see, it's not their fault also, is what I feel, even though
There's
they
no
have access.
awareness. There's no
Yeah,
awareness.
they have access and exposure, but then there's no awareness, and there's a lot of limitations that they face on and off with the families, and
Another thing I
a lot of
realized, yeah, another thing I realized also is there's no counseling.
correct, correct. So I was just trying to connect it to that, because rehab and therapy is something which is been kind of uh, taken from the casual lens, like it's quite casually taken, and it's never a serious business in terms of a diagnosis. Like someone who gets a diagnosis, after that they'll be written some prescription, and then they'll be thrown out of the hospital, and from there on the struggle is on the caregivers, the primary contact of the person, to handle it the way they would like to. It's again, it's not the individual's choice, it's not the one who's living with the conditions, basically in the hands of the first point of contact. And if they are well versed and having awareness and exposure to these, they handle them quite well. I have seen people in my peers as well that they're dealing well. But I've seen the worst, that there's no rehab component present at all. And maybe I can just share quickly about mine. That once I got my diagnosis and lost my eyesight, and we were trying to undergo the surgeries and treatments and everything. This lasted for 1.5 years, and I underwent major surgeries of brain and spine. Post surgeries, I was not having any rehabilitation done, and simultaneously, for my post transition phase of blindness, I was not having any kind of support provided to regain access to my digital gadgets and digital media I was interacting with. So it was a huge gap, and I was just I felt like I was isolated for almost 2 to 3 years. I was not having access to anything. I was not using my phone, nothing. So the point here is about, again, the rehab component, that once you get the diagnosis, it's basically the healthcare providers.
But tell me, Kavya, tell me one thing. Do you know that in India, we have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, right?
Yes.
And somewhere I believe, and because I have been touring a lot of hospitals with my daughter, I believe the awareness, like I told you, the awareness at different levels of, or rather different strata of the medical system is different. Right? So you do not have the same level of awareness, or let's say availability of specialized support, as we would want to call it, in multiple geographic locations in a country like us, purely because of the fact that India is still developing in various ways. But in certain pockets, you do get that specialized support, etc. It just basis your experience, was there were you self-guiding yourself as a family, or did you get navigated with support from somebody who knew about the condition and what to do?
Completely self-guided, and we were not having any clue of how to take it forward, and we were all lost in the entire process happening. And that was the initial phase, like the very crucial phase of the diagnosis process. That we literally learned a lot of technicalities and complexities involved in managing this particular condition at home. And that was the time. One blessing in my life is my brother, that he stood by my side. He's my elder brother, he's 4 years elder to me, and he kind of tried understanding the complexities involved in this particular condition, and tried learning a lot about it wherever possible and whichever possible way, connecting with the specialists out there and getting multiple opinions. And that was the time when we came across a global forum that's there in Facebook. That was the only space we could find, and somehow my brother landed there. And then in this process of just 3 months, what we went through, and we could gain a lot of insights to this condition, why waste it? That was the only thought. When he used to I was very curious as a child also. I was very curious. That helped me maybe to understand my condition better, to manage it better. So I used to ask every damn question to my brother, that what is happening with me and how everything. And he used to explain me very patiently that this happened, this surgery was done like this channel was used, everything he used to explain. So when I was listening all of this, we had this kind of discussions couple of times that if we are dealing in this manner, what about others who are not having minimal access also to this information? It's very crucial information. I think we need to do something about it and share it somewhere. We were not clear about how, but then that was the point where I was like, okay, let's start a group for India. We'll see if there are any Indians living with this condition. And that was the hunt. I mean, changed everything for us and for many others too. So I think, yeah, I why am I sharing this particular point is that he, as we were discussing about the awareness quotient of it,
Right.
we we struggled a lot, even negotiating with the healthcare providers, quote unquote, the neurological fraternity, the neuro fraternity, were also not convinced that I was dealing with IIH. They put me in the bracket of migraines when we rushed in emergency. My shunt got failed, and it requires me another surgery right away at that minute. If that was not done, it will put me in a brain trauma and stroke, and things will get even more worse. So during that condition also, they were not willing to admit me. This was a very renowned hospital, and I don't want to take name, but this was the case that the neurofraternity themselves were like, she is dealing with migraine, just take her back, it's not emergency at all. But then the other day it became worse, and it added many layers to the complexity, and the other hospital thankfully admitted me, and then I underwent another surgery. So the point I was trying to make is, this is a similar experience with even other patients with whom the actual specialist was also not well versed with the
Exactly. That's something that
and
I
the
was
diagnosis is always delayed, always misdiagnosed, and always, as you rightly mentioned about prevention, is something which we always think of. कि
Right.
ये अगर इस टाइम पे होता तो ये ऐसा नहीं
Exactly.
होता, ये जो
Kavya,
चीज.
I will tell you a little incident that happened with me and Kia last year. Okay, so last year, Kia was invited to speak at TIGS, Tata Institute of Genetic Sciences,
Yes,
and they were doing a collaborative event with NCBS. Okay, which is again, they were jointly conducting this event, and it was for the International Rare Disease Day, exactly a year back. That is when we got to know that the regular curriculum, the 5-year curriculum that is followed in our country for those who choose the path of studying medicine, barely have only one chapter on rare diseases.
Rare diseases, correct. It's also in the electives. If I'm not wrong,
So
this is
then
what I
you,
think.
then you go on. If somebody then wants to study, deeply into the subject, can take it up at a higher level. But at the lower formal level of education, which is MBBS, there is nothing deeper than just one chapter on rare diseases. So now let me just ask you this question: how many people out there, whether it is pediatricians, neurologists, or whoever, has ever studied rare conditions in integration with their area of specialization?
Correct.
So unless somebody has had an exposure to this chain of patients, right? Which means that they have really solved, just like you and me are architects, right? Do we study everything about architecture in those 5 years?
That's what I was trying to bring the entire narrative to. That I was trying to draw parallels that when it comes to accessibility and universal design, it's the same rare diseases
Yes,
from that
exactly.
our architecture fraternity deals with, that they put in electives and they don't really take it seriously. And if someone
No,
is interested,
they take up their elective seriously, but nothing is made mandatory. Nothing, none of
not
this is made
everyone is
mandatory.
also taken seriously. No, that another
So if I was somebody in charge of writing the curriculum, okay, in a country which has a very high population like India, knowing that there are close to so many thousand rare conditions, right, and there are so many million affected, the people affected, and for most of these conditions, in fact, all of these conditions, there's no cure. Don't you think that the pressure would be on me to change that curriculum and make
Correct.
certain things mandatory? I'm just
Correct.
talking about the grassroots level, okay? Because what happens
Yes.
in our country is that we have some very fantastic all India level medical, entrance examinations for which people study very, very hard, and they get
Yes.
the best ranks, right? We have the top-notch doctors coming out of our country. Now, if these
Yeah.
doctors at a very, very initial stage itself are exposed and made aware during their base curriculum itself that, you guys have to do these chapters. It's not an elective, it's a mandatory subject. And
Yeah.
then you get on, and then you specialize in neuroscience, or be it, in cardiology or hematology or whatever it is. But at least you have a base understanding that there could be variations in the general human constitution, right, of an individual. And sometimes
Right.
that becomes the base of the misdiagnosis at the
Yes.
early stages for people like us.
Correct.
And who's paying the price? You've lost your eyesight. Kia has lost 80% mobility. Why?
Yes.
That wasn't required at all. It was
Yeah.
only a matter of what needed to be done and who is thinking that deep. So what I think is happening, okay, when we talk awareness, when we talk about making our community aware, we talk about the tip of the iceberg,
Right.
where everyone is hanging right now, right? That's where all of us are hanging. We don't have help. So we've climbed, kind of surfaced above the waters to just be able to breathe. And we are hanging all to that little portion which is above the water just to be able to breathe. But underneath that surface of water, there's a huge section of the problem which needs addressed. And it is not, maybe taking a census of a disability census. It's just not universal design, which means that we correct the physical spaces. But we also have to correct the curriculum where medicine is being, the way medicine is being approached. We have to make pre-screening a complete must, in a country with such a high population where anybody could be, passing on genetic disorders or non-genetic disorders. So you have to make certain mandatory, health preventive measures, include that in your general insurance, right? So that we do a medical checkup every year and we get that report card. Ki haan bhai, sab theek thaak hai. Honestly, sab theek thaak hai. Because even that box exists in that list.
Correct.
So there's so many things, right, at the end of it. And somewhere I feel that we are, and when I'm saying we, Kavya, we are trying to find like-minded. I think that is where the problem is, right? I think that is where the problem is. And somewhere we're not really barging into mainstream and saying that this mainstream space belongs to me as well. I need to be heard here. And one of the reasons being that because of our conditions, we feel that maybe the mainstream space is not for us anymore. So we start coiling up and going to the lesser, crowded spaces, which could be one, the disability, community. Two could be the rare disease community. And three could be maybe, in my case, the SMA community, and your case, the IIH community. Because they are less crowded. So there are more people like us. But tell me one reason why we'll find a solution within the community. We are not going to find solution within the community, right?
No, we won't.
Because we are all hanging from the tip of the iceberg.
We won't.
We're all
unless and until we mainstream it and we we break this kind of tip, like the glass ceiling, and we move out of this.
Actually push that iceberg above the water, right?
Yes.
We push it above the water from down.
I mean, I think hardly we see people putting effort in this space, and again,
no, I mean, again, let me ask you, okay, very simple things. And I'm happy that you are slightly more like-minded than most of the people I have met. How many people, in spite of being on a wheelchair, love to go out of the house and be seen? I'm just talking about, let's say, a morning walk, or let's say a music event, or let's say just a restaurant.
So you are asking about how many people would like to?
How many people do you see?
definitely you see hardly one or
One or
two.
two, one or two.
Absolutely no one in most of the cases, just because
Exactly.
of the uh, entire pin to pin management that they have to undergo
Now I'll
and
ask you.
plan out.
I'll ask you this again. Now tell
Yes.
me, how much of this management is falls under the civic structure? When I say civic, I mean the administrative public structuring.
No.
Hardly anything, right? And we yet say there are no ramps, so I don't do it. So I'll tell you what the problem here
It's not
is.
just about ramps.
It isn't. It's about the mindset. And I'll
It's
tell you
about
what
the
happens.
exactly.
Exactly, right?
That's
So
what
what
yeah.
then happens is now I have a child on a wheelchair. Every time I
Yes.
have to go out with her, I have to physically carry her from level A to level B
Correct.
if let's say she can't do it herself. Now
Correct.
I am completely okay with that. And I have no shame or no feel of people looking at me a little strangely when I'm doing that in a public space. But the question is, how many people, and I'm talking about the family members who need to, escort a person who is less able into a public space, are comfortable doing that.
No.
It's got nothing to do, honestly speaking, with universal design. Even if you have the universal design all sorted out perfectly, pin to pin,
The
everything is
attitudes are still the same, and the cultural generational cultural differences are still the same.
I think these are all big words, Kavya. I think these are all very,
I
very
think
big
yes.
words. I
I
think
mean,
it's simple. It's a simple mindset issue. It's a very simple mindset
yes.
issue.
The attitude I
It's
was
about
mentioning is about yes.
it's just
The
about
yes.
what will the other person think. That's all.
Yeah.
And
It's
I think that is the only challenge. That
yeah.
is the only challenge in our society today. So people talk about people with disabilities not getting jobs. I disagree. And I'll tell you why I disagree. It is about how many people who are disabled actually upskill themselves, okay, bring themselves at par with others, in the society to vie for the same job.
I agree.
How many people do it then?
Most of the people fight for subsidies and
Exactly.
welfare schemes and pensions and
The victim card, okay, we all have
yes,
this very
yes,
fancy concept ki disability card chahiye, we want concessions, we
correct,
want this.
correct,
Arey baba, kitna
correct,
milega tum logo ko yaar at the end of the day? There is some work that is required from our end also, no? Which means what?
correct.
Not just the
That's
person
all.
affected, but the family members and everybody. You have to work as a unit. You have to work as a unit, which means that the person who is less able, along with the family member, may not be the whole family, maybe one believer or two believers in that person,
Yes,
needs to work
yes,
as a unit and do what
correct.
it takes. Because I am tired of saying this in every forum. And Kavya, please agree or disagree with me loudly, as loudly as you want to. I think nobody is perfectly able,
I agree.
right? Either you have
Yeah,
mental health issues, or you have physical issues, or you have some rare condition, or you have some underlying conditions which are very, very, many have high maintenance, long term diabetes, cardiac, whatever.
yeah,
Everybody has something or the other, right? We're all
correct.
fighting in our own spaces. And
Yeah.
somewhere I believe that we all feel deprived. See, the
Yes,
world is not meant for me. So it's not just a person with disability who feels that, by the way. We
right.
feel we feel it maybe a little more because everybody is ranting. All the people with disabilities are ranting about it. But the fact is that everybody is ranting. अरे
Yeah, yeah,
महंगाई है, ये महंगा हो चुका है, पेट्रोल महंगा हो गया, ये महंगा हो गया, ट्रेन में, trains are overloaded. Everybody is ranting at the end of it.
yes, yes,
What are we talking about? We are talking about becoming a part of this world, not detaching ourselves from the part of the world, right?
right.
And the more we get, physically deprived because of our condition, and that is where I have this approach personally, that the more your body is withdrawing medically because of its debilitating condition, the more you need to push yourself to get into mainstream.
Correct.
Because that is where people will accept you.
Yes.
That's where you
yes.
have to be known. That's where you need the support. And people
Correct.
are not bad all around you. They will come. So you like you said, pin to pin, right? Try going out on your wheelchair one day, all by yourself. And I keep urging Kia to do this. And you will be amazed how many people will come and help you.
Right.
How many people will come and help you without you having to ask? Because
Correct.
people are nice. People are not bad. Maybe the step is a little, the riser of that thread is a little higher. Right? It happened because of ignorance. Nobody.
I work in a space where everyone is having this intent to do something about it, and how, like, nobody knows how to do it, but everyone is having this intention to do,
Exactly.
to make the world better for everyone around them. It's not just about disability, but it's basically for everyone. So there are good people, and there are avenues where we can, we are pushing. And again, fortunately, I'm trying to like work in the space where I'm meeting like a completely like new people, not from the sector, nowhere near to dealing with disability, knows nothing about it, but only thing they were having like connected with me is the intent that they were carrying to work along and play their part, to hand, like, maybe somewhere share the huge responsibility that only us, as someone experiencing, someone having lived experience, carrying on our shoulders, just to share that burden and make something better out of it. So I met these people, and I still I still work with them, and I'm still meeting new people in this space. So I feel more
that is what is
energized.
called, becoming a part of the mainstream. That's what is called becoming a part of the mainstream.
I feel more energized to see that kind of flow coming in, and like, a lot of collaborations and partnerships are open, and it's basically the point. Making right use of the opportunity is what I always share it with my peers as well. It's not just about whenever you meet someone, you just crib about your life, and then you just talk about the barriers.
Eventually, Kavya, when you become a part of mainstream with whatever, let's say disability one has, you'll eventually forget that you have that.
Yes.
You'll forget it, because it's called normalizing. It's called normalizing, right? So like, even if you take a life cycle of a human being, you have a child who is born completely disabled, right? The child can't even move, stand, turn over, nothing. Even when you die as an old person, you die with complete disability. You lose your muscle mass and everything. So that is why when somebody tells me, "Oh, you belong to the disability sector," I said, "No, all of us do." Because in each of our life cycle, we start as a disabled person, we die as a disabled person. Some of us in between become disabled earlier. It's as simple as that, right? But everybody has to go through it. And when people realize that, so I'll tell you what has happened after we moved to Vizag. And this is just a part of our experience, which we're sharing. So I'm a pace walker. And the pace walking is nothing but walking tremendously fast. I don't run, but I walk very, very fast. So I have always walked right from I think the time I was in my 9th grade, and by the beach was the place where I started my morning walks. And when I came back to Vizag, I said, this is somewhere I have to continue. So the routine is very simple. I go for a walk, I come back, and then I take Kia and my dog, and we all go out walking. So Kia obviously wheels on her chair, and Leo and me, we are walking side by side. And we are happily listening to music. So, like how cars have a speaker, Kia has a Bluetooth in her back pocket, and we blast music, and we are happily walking on the beach. So we take a short, little tour and come back. And lot of people, lot of eyeballs rolling. Arey wah, ye kya hai? Lot of people, initially used to give us that little weird look. What is she doing here? By the way, it's not safe for her. Now people are smiling at us. They're all asking us the brand of the name of the wheelchair. We also want to buy for somebody we know. And then they come and shake hands, and they want to know, what did we do yesterday? And they are socializing. with care. And they don't give that dirty look anymore. They don't come and help if we get stuck on that riser or something like that. They wait, so they are being able to manage. So how is it basically having an impact? Is it's creating awareness without us having to say a word.
Yeah.
And that is what is required at the end of it. And I keep telling people, and I think today's generation of people with youngsters like yourself are far more evolved than I think the older generation was, who actually lived with a lot of taboo, right? Because people with disability from the ancient times were also looked down upon as a curse of the society. They were always treated as a burden. But times have changed, because thanks to technology, even if people are do not have some form of visual impairment, you can complete your education today. You're not really dependent on only braille books or some kind of a physical support.
Not at all.
Exactly. So the point is, I think technology has made it very, very unifying and levelized everything else that is required. So when I have these conversations nowadays, my only question again and again is, do you still feel there? And this is why I named this podcast. So there's another chain of conversations called Heroes of Inclusion. They're doing fabulous work. But again, in communities, in silos. So somebody's working with neurodiverse kids, somebody with this condition, that condition. And I keep asking people, do you still not want to unify? Because everybody belongs in the world. Nobody's stopping anybody, right? Go out, reclaim the space, right? And don't say that we are just a few people, because no, you will be amazed how many of us are there. It is irrespective. Ki aapko kya hai, mujhe kya hai, right? The world belongs to us, and unless and until we go out and reclaim it, we can't make it ours. We cannot expect it to be ours. We cannot change that riser, the depth of the step, or maybe the lack of the ramp. We have to be seen. So, on an ending note, okay, Kavya, I had a fantastic time actually talking to you. I wanted to know from you, what are you doing currently? What's your focus area, and where are you headed? I know you're very excited about what you're doing, so come out with it.
So, yes, firstly, I wanted to reiterate that I don't feel I'm rare, right?
Absolutely.
That is one
Say nice
thing.
and loud. I am not rare.
Of course, I'm not rare.
Excellent.
And that's where, I mean, the basic funda that you explained about, like you just narrated your experience for walk and how mindset shift came into the picture. That's the very thing that I'm focused in a more structured way with the institutions and colleges and students from schools. Everywhere, basically, wherever possible, I get a chance and opportunity. I come up with the experiential learning modules, and then I try to make, the students and the participants involved in the entire activity, and then have interactions. I try opening doors because most of the times what I come to listen from the able-bodied is that we don't usually interact with disabled because we don't know how they react and how they talk and they feel about themselves if we ask something. So this was kind of it's kind of a regular encounter that I come across from everyone. So that's the point. Also, I try making spaces where making safe spaces where there will be interaction from both the ends, that person with these conditions and then person who's into the mainstream, both can engage and interact and find some kind of a common thing. So that is one thing. I mean, I create spaces online and offline as well. I organize and curate some kind of such meetups. I run this organization by the name Poornamidam. I mentioned earlier. So it's basically works as a think tank, working closely with the government agencies in terms of addressing the policy gaps at the intersectionality of sustainability and inclusion. Sustainability, I mean by environmental and climate change issues, and inclusion, I mean by inclusion of everything, not just disability.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so here, again, having a lens of architecture, art, carrying together.
Hmm.
Uh, that's how we have contributed to few policies, and we have come up with like changes in the discourse of tourism
Amazing.
policy of Andhra Pradesh, and so on and so forth.
Amazing. Amazing. This is
So that is
brilliant.
something which, I mean, I have various interest areas, and I keep
Are you still dancing, Kavya? Tell me you are dancing.
I do dance. Only thing is, I keep in mind about my shunt. Again, I did not mention about the other layer of um, reasonable accommodation I require is I need to lie down once in a while to balance my brain pressures. So that
Right.
is one thing I keep in mind whenever I travel. In law, like if I have to walk long, I opt a wheelchair, and someone will be maneuvering with the support of it. So in airports or in any public spaces where I have to walk for longer time, I opt a wheelchair
Okay.
assistance. And wherever I go and present and uh, like participate in the conferences, I request for a couch setup or a space where I can lie down for a bit and I can still be part of the discussion. So
Amazing.
that's how I have participated in couple of consultations where I was just lying down in the back,
How
and I
lucky.
was just
How
I was just
lucky can
holding
someone
a
be?
mic and
How lucky. How lucky.
so I was
Imagine
just
that.
holding mic and I was still being part of the panels, but I was lying down
See,
and
what a
participating.
beautiful world we have, right? What a beautiful world we
So
have.
it's basically the thing, no, that uh, once you understand what your reasonable accommodations are, and when you
And
get that kind of
ask
a
for it.
space,
And
and
ask for
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And ask
So
for it.
when you won't put forth what you really need, and I mean
Exactly.
it's based,
If you
it
are
can't happen.
shy,
No, nobody can really predict what can
exactly.
be your reasonable accommodation. It's you.
Exactly. Exactly. You have to put yourself out there. You have to
Yeah,
ask. You have to explain. You have to make the other person comfortable. You have to include.
correct.
You have to include. We all talk about inclusion like it is one
Yes.
fab word nowadays. And I keep telling everybody that who is not getting included and why? Have we
Yes.
ever asked ourselves that? Nobody is stopping us. I'll tell you, I've worked as an architect for almost 28 years before I retired. Okay. And I have been a single parent for half my life. When Kia is 15 today, Naira is 20. And I think last 14 years I've just been managing by myself with these kids. So you can imagine life of an architect with a child, who's 80% physically challenged. There were times I used to take both my kids to my office and, they used to sit in my cabin. Not an ouch from my employer. Nobody's saying anything. In fact, my colleagues would come, they would sit and draw with Kia and Naira and keep them busy while I was attending the meetings. Never in my entire those many years of work, and trust me that this was like long time back, right from the time the kids were very, very young. Never had an issue. Never had an issue. Just the fact that I decided कि मुझे ऐसे करना है. I'm not going
Correct.
to withdraw. I'm not going to coil up. I'm not going to feel that, oh my God, why me? Why is my life affected this way? And throw everything that God has given me, which works, up in the air, right?
Yeah.
And sit in self-pity. So we kept going, and the world accepted us just the way we were. Wherever we needed help, we asked for help, and help came. We didn't
Yeah.
have to cry. We didn't have to do any of that. So I'm only thinking that somewhere the first myth is that we are not ready. So everybody has something or the other. And
Yeah.
if all of us just sit back because of our medical silos and we keep saying, I have this issue, so I belong to the SMA community. You have this issue. You only belong to the IH community, and I cannot talk to you. Then, boss, we are in some very, very big problem here. Okay, because ultimately you have a lot of common with me, and I have a lot of common with you, because Bottom line, we're all human beings. We all need air, water, and oxygen, right, to keep ourselves sane. And we all need a sustainable livelihood. We need a good environment. We need, to preserve our climate, check pollution. All these are very, very basic stuff. We can't just withdraw from all of this and say that I want only ramps. Sorry, I can't focus on anything else, or I need medication on. So that will be
Yes.
like diminishing.
Ultimately, what I understood by the research that I have done also is that we are the ones who are disproportionately impacted by whatever changes that are happening, be it climate change, be it pollution,
Yeah,
be it
exactly.
whatever thing, because we are the least ones who have contributed to the larger thing, and
Again,
we are the
yeah. No,
first ones.
again, Kavya, the reason is because we are not getting into that, into that decision making group. How many of you are like say, how many of us are like you? Tell me.
Yeah.
How many of us are like you? Who stopped you? Did anybody stop you when you said I wanted to do this?
No.
What is stopping the others?
Because they are still again sitting,
waiting to be fetched from home to that location to be able to contribute. No, nobody's going to do that. Who
it's
comes and takes
basically
you?
it's basically the mindset that we were talking about, the intention that they were like we were talking about earlier.
People
That
withdraw, Kavya. People
yes, yes,
withdraw.
yes,
People just withdraw, thinking that my life has got affected. They withdraw. Withdrawal symptoms कहते हैं इसको. And I think we seriously need mental health awareness for our society.
yes,
Seriously, we need that. If you ask me what is it that we need just that. And if that is sorted, everybody's going to come out. They'll know that mental well-being is equally important to, compared to other physical well-being. And then we might have a balanced society. So I'm only thinking that maybe these are the focus areas, right? It's not anything larger. Shall we talk about balancing mental well-being with physical well-being first? Make world a happier place first, close to home. And maybe once we all feel very, very happy and excited about ourselves, we might go on a picnic together. We might go and have discussions on climate change and, health policies and other good things that we all want to see happen around us. Right? I think internally we need to be very, very positive, and Kavya, somewhere down the line, that's the vacuum. It's not
yeah,
about anything else. The vacuum is that deep-seated unhappiness. Why has it happened to me? Like we have been snatched of something, but we don't realize that everybody has something or the other. Everybody has something or the other. And the day we all realize that, okay, in my case, maybe it is this, right? In somebody else's case, it could be that. But I have to accept that person, and that person needs to accept me. And I'm not going to go fetch that person, and that I can't expect myself to be fetched out of my position, right? Wherever I am, I have to get out. I have to make that effort. It's as simple as that. Trust me, if this starts happening, the world will see more contributors and less criminals. Just like yourself. And that is why you are here talking to me, Kavya, because out of the lot, I found you more contributing. Not just advocacy, IIH and this. And I've been noticing you, and I've been like, okay, this girl's got the attitude. She's cool. I want to hang out with her. That's how I really felt. Because that's how people feel. It's a modern world. Nobody wants to be around people who are cribbing and crying. Make yourself positive and then see the magic, right? You've seen it in your case.
yeah.
I've seen it in my case. And it works. It works. Positivity is the magic. It works. It gets the right energies to you. The universe conspires. When you are positive, the universe conspires to make things happen. It's as simple as that. So, Kavya, on that brilliant note, okay, and this just means that you have to keep me coming back to you to find out what exciting stuff you're doing every now and then. So, on an ending note, with the whole theme as I'm not there, what is the last message that you want to leave all of us with?
So again, right now I'm short of words because everything what I really wanted to share. We have already
Shared.
shared throughout. So I think some or the other way, like we expressed ourselves, both you and me, in the entire podcast. So only thing what I can think of right now is stop cribbing about things and start somewhere. Like it can be a baby step, and it can also get a backlash. And it's not always that your first step would always be all positive and good. It You might also experience something which should not stop you from taking your second step. And that's what I believed and I practiced when I started my journey of navigation with like navigating my life after transition. So I think that's the only thing which is coming to my mind right now, that don't stop with the first step. Please continue your second step, and I think things will slowly and gradually fall into place, and you will meet beautiful people around, and there will be abundance of energy that will support you in your journey in whichever way you would like to navigate and like carve your niche. So that's the only thing which I could think of right now, and we are
Filmy way.
not rare.
Filmy way of saying, okay, I'm not rare is bhai picture abhi baki hai. So this is probably take two after the intermission of whatever has happened in our lives, but picture abhi bhi baki hai, right? There's so much to be done. Yeah, that's the interesting part. It's just a different route.
It's
than many
basically
others.
learning and unlearning process of everything. Whatever you were tuned and fed during, like throughout your life, you need to unlearn it. That's where the entire change will start, and that's how it's helping all of us. So it's basically a juggle between both learning and unlearning.
Extra lectures. when when we were in school, we had extra classes, remember? So this is like those extra classes that we are having to take, just to get better at living, I think. So that's okay. That's absolutely perfect. So
Okay to be sad day, like sad.
yeah,
It's okay
cry.
to be
It's perfectly okay to cry. Absolutely.
so
Do cry
it's
once in
okay
a while.
to get upset. It's basically a natural tendency of a human being that experience all kinds of emotions. So it's okay. You don't have to really think that you are all alone in this journey. We are
Yeah.
all there. So that I mean, these are
Absolutely.
the things that are right now coming to my mind.
So
But
all the Kavya epiphanies, Kavya, you'll have to write a book now. Okay, write a nice, beautiful, positive book about how to charge up everybody that you have come across, and let's get the Kavya energy out. Everybody should see you as a role model. Okay, and I think that's the point. If you see a role model out there who is breaking the ice, showing the way, is that's it. That's all that we need to look out for. That there are people who are doing it, you know, close to home, maybe some part of the world, but people are doing that. So there are, these glass ceilings which are being shattered every day in and out, and people are making way for probably the whole community to follow. So,
correct.
Kavya, thank you so much. I know it's dinner time. Your mom and dad will probably come, and brother will come and, find me where I'm staying in Vizag and shut off my mic. But let me let that happen. Do remember that Monisha is very grateful for the time that you've given us. And this is a beautiful share that happened today. A good exchange between two architects, one old, one young, and how people are both sides of the lens, right? So I'm like a caregiver architect. You're like a architect
I'm
who's.
also playing the role of caregiver for my parents who are dealing with one, like my father is living with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and my mother is living with cardiac issues and osteoarthritis. So both of them.
I told you nobody is perfectly able, didn't I?
Exactly. That's what I wanted
That's
to even share.
that's the beauty. That's the beauty, that all of you are there for each other.
Yes.
Life
Yes.
at the end of it. That's the beauty of it. And
We live with
I
it, and
will.
we also like play a role of caregiver in each other's life. It's basically interdependency of
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
life that we are leading. So,
And the trick is to still keep things positive, right? Because if you are not positive, everybody who's associated to you
yes,
will also feel bogged down, right, at the end of it.
yes,
But anyway, I think you have cracked the code. You're on your way to doing good things and great things, Kavya. You've got your your path sorted out, which is why I wanted you to come and share your journey with us. Maybe one hiccup, one roadblock, which could have been very, very detrimental for you mentally as an individual, could have pushed you back and made you probably a vegetable. You didn't let that happen. You just kind of fought the odds. You came out with your strength, and you are going from one strength to another strength, right? It's as simple as that. So I hope the entire community, whether it is the IIH or it is the rare disease community or the disability community or just generally the world who listens to this conversation, relates to this, relates to this exchange and knows that, a few hurdles are just hurdles at the end of the day, whether they are severe medical hurdles or financial or otherwise, people have the power to overcome them, right? And make themselves strong again. So thank you for leaving that little impression on all of us, and love to meet you soon in Vizag. Till that time, if you want to catch hold of both of us, please come to the beach road on your, and don't worry if you have to get your wheelchair, we'll drop you back, but do come. Okay, let's get visible. Okay, done.
yes.
Take care. All the best.
Hi, my name is Kavya Poornima Balajepalli. I'm an architect from Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. I also curate an online platform by the name Poornamidam, working on the intersectionality of architecture, environment and disability. When I started pursuing my fellowship, my thematic area is on the universal accessibility of public spaces, and my primary focus is on the leisure and recreational areas of Visakhapatnam. And as a case study, I started my work with the Blue Flag Beach of the Rushikonda, which is placed in Visakhapatnam. And it is taken care by the Andhra Pradesh Tourism Department. And during that, I have done a field visit and also provided a field report, and that's where the journey of my advocacy with the Andhra Pradesh Tourism Department started. While understanding the ground reality of accessibility quotient in the public spaces, I have done multiple field visits and studies across Visakhapatnam. And that's when it caught the attention of the local administration, and I was inducted into the district level committee on disability that was formed last year in Visakhapatnam. So as an architecture student, I was never taught accessibility as a subject or as a concept. And when I talk about universal design, it is the design that caters larger user group, the diverse user group, be it children, women, a person with temporary and permanent disabilities, and also senior citizens. Along with me, there are many other who are pursuing this and doing this advocacy actively, and there's a positive move that happened last year that an MOU was signed in between the Council of Architecture and Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment to mainstream universal accessibility into the architecture curriculum. We must understand disability is not a homogeneous identity. It has various intersectionalities, both horizontally and vertically. Once we understand this, then we'll get to the concept of accessibility, because accessibility is not just limited to a person with disabilities. It caters other people as well. So we need to make it as an integral part of all the initiatives.